In financial modeling, there are many cases where your model looks much more tidier and much more easier to understand once you hide certain rows or columns. Usually, those rows or columns are the ones that are relatively less important, but still possesses minor functions to the entire model. So thus, in this video, we will be learning how to properly hide and unhide rows and columns and how to do it in the most efficient manner possible. So one of the most commonly known ways to hide your columns is to simply, right click on your mouse and select the hide function. And it's going to successfully hide your columns. It goes the same with selecting rows and then clicking on the hide function. So for example, if you want to hide these two rows here, right click and the hide function will simply hide your rows. But the biggest problem to this method of hiding your rows and columns is that at some point of time you're going to forget, and I can assure you this, at some point of time you're going to forget what you have hidden. You're just going to forget the fact that you have hidden something here. And another problem is that if you are sharing this model with other colleagues or other clients or other analysts, those people have no idea. They're going to be clueless on the fact that something is hidden in between these rows and columns. So we're going to introduce some other methods, some alternative methods that we could utilize and which would avoid these kind of problems. So let's unhide for this moment. Again, unhide. Yep. Yeah, the trick is to group your financial model rows and columns. So first step is to group your rows and columns, and how you would do that is to simply select the entire columns by pressing Control space, and then the shortcut would be Shift Alt and then the right arrow key pressed all together. And as soon as you do that, what you can see is up here there's a new button that you can simply click with your mouse that opens and closes your groups, your column groups. So this way you know that there is something hidden in between these two rows. So it's a much better way to show other people that there is something hidden in between these two columns. Same goes with the rows. Select the entire rows by pressing Shift space, Shift Alt, and then the right arrow key would create a button that you can close and open. And of course, if you want to do it the other way around, if you want to ungroup some of the columns that some of the rows that you have selected, ungrouping, Shift Alt, and then the left arrow key, and you can see that now only this one specific row is selected for the group. Again, Shift Alt and then the right arrow key is going to add groups. Shift Alt and then the left arrow key is going to decrease your groups. And in addition to that, you can make a group within a group as well. For example, if you want to first group these two CAGR columns and then group just the single historical CAGRs, you can just simply Control space, Shift Alt, and then the right arrow key again. And as you can see now, there's a group within a group, and it creates two different buttons. And lastly, if you want to, if you don't want to use your mouse and instead you want to use your keyboards to close and open these groups, the shortcuts would be to press Alt, A for data, and then J to show the details, H to hide the details. So H is hide, so it's relatively easier to memorize, and J is to show the details. I have no idea why J is designated as the shortcuts, But anyways, Alt H, Alt A H for hiding, Alt A J for showing the details. Same goes here. If you want to hide these two rows, come somewhere in between these rows. Alt A H will hide, Alt A J will show the details. So very simple. To wrap up, you're going to select the entire rows that you want to group, Shift Alt and then the right arrow key, Alt A H to hide, Alt A J to show, and then Shift Space, Shift Alt and then the left arrow key to cancel your groups. So that was our introduction on how to group and ungroup your rows and columns, and how to hide and unhide your details.